carbon and its compounds. In this chapter, you're going to study about the carbon, its physical properties as well as the chemical properties, and the compounds formed by the carbon. So, this is a concept of organic chemistry. So, in the periodic table, we have 118 elements. In that, 117 elements belongs to the inorganic chemistry. The one element which belongs to the organic chemistry is nothing but carbon, and the compounds which is formed by the carbon. Now, we'll just see the physical properties of organic compounds. Most of the organic compounds have low boiling point and melting point. This is because of the attraction of the molecules, that is intermolecules, are weak. The force of attraction of the molecules is weak, and they are poor conductors of heat and electricity. This is because of the absence of free electrons and free ions. So here in this, the important thing is low boiling point and melting point. Because of what? Because of the attraction between the molecules is weaker, and next is they are poor conductors of electricity, heat and electricity. So now we'll just see what are the important things of carbon. So here the carbon, its atomic number is 6 and the mass number is 12. So since the atomic number is 6, the electronic configuration of carbon is nothing but 2, 4. So what is this 2 and 4? Since the atomic number is 6, the carbon consists of 2 orbitals or 2 shells. So in the first shell we have 2 electrons, and in the second shell we have 4 electrons. But for the second electron, it should contain 8 electrons in this shell. But here, since it has only 4 electrons, it further requires 4 electrons to obtain the stable state. But here what happens? It has options, 2 options it has. Either it has to gain 4 electrons, or it has to give away 4 electrons to attain the stable state. In case, if the carbon gives out, that is, if the carbon loses 4 electrons, what happens? Or if the carbon gains 4 electrons, what will happen? So in the below points, you could see that if the carbon gains 4 electrons, in the nucleus, the number of protons will become less when compared to the number of electrons. Here, the number of protons and the number of electrons should be equal in an atom. But here what happens? If carbon gains 4 electrons, there the electrons will become more and the protons will become less, which will be difficult for the nucleus to hold 10 electrons. Suppose if the carbon gives away 4 electrons, or if it loses 4 electrons, what will happen is, since in the same case 4 protons will be there and 2 electrons will be there. But if we want to remove electrons from the shell, it requires lot of energy. Okay. And hence it is also very difficult. So here the carbon is neither gonna give away the electrons nor it gonna take in or gain electrons. So what kind of bondage will it occur? Okay. So you have studied about the ionic bond where the electrons are gained or loosed between the elements. But here the carbon doesn't give away or take in electrons. So in this particular case, what kind of bondage will be formed with the carbon atoms? So a concept called as a covalent bond. So what is this covalent bond? This covalent bond is nothing but sharing of electrons between two elements or two compounds. Sharing of electrons. Okay, sharing of electrons between two elements or two compounds. It is nothing but sharing of electrons in the sense pairs. Okay, if one element will be giving one electron and the other element also will give one electron. So here the pair of electrons are what? Are shared between two elements or two compounds. Okay. So here the bond formed by mutual sharing of electron pairs between two atoms in a molecule is known as covalent bond. As I said, covalent bond is nothing but sharing of electron. Just remember this keyword, sharing of electrons or sharing of pair of electrons between two elements or between two compounds. Okay. Now we'll just see what are the different covalent bonds can be formed with carbon. Okay. So here since the valency of carbon is 4, so it can form single bond, double bond and triple bond with the respective elements. First we'll just see single covalent bond. So in single covalent bond, only one pair of electrons is shared between two atoms. Only one pair of electrons are shared between two atoms. So for that we can just take the example of hydrogen. So hydrogen, its atomic number is 1, as well as in the outer shell it has only one electron. So to attain the stable state, hydrogen requires one more electron. So what happens here? It just shares that one electron with the carbon atom, because here hydrogen has only one electron in the outermost shell and it requires only one electron. So what happens here? The hydrogen will combine with carbon by sharing only one electron. So it becomes a single bond. If only single or one pair of electrons are shared, then it forms a single bond. Then what about the double bond? Double covalent bond, the same thing, but here what happens? Two pairs of electrons are shared. Not one, two pairs of electrons. So when two pairs of electrons are shared between two atoms in a molecule, then it is defined as what? Double bond or double covalent bond. So for that example, we can just take it as oxygen. So here the oxygen in the outermost shell, it has 6 electrons. In the outermost shell, it has 6 electrons. So here the oxygen requires 2 more electrons to attain the stable state. But what happens here? It cannot give away the electrons or it cannot gain electrons. So here what happens means the oxygen wants to share electrons with the carbon atoms. Thus we'll get the carbon dioxide, that is CO2. Okay. So here the O2 indicates that oxygen requires 2 electrons or oxygen is ready for double bond. Okay. And the next thing is the triple bond. Here in the triple bond, what happens? 3 pairs of electrons are shared. 3 pairs of electrons are shared between 2 atoms. Okay. So the example for this we can take it as nitrogen. So the nitrogen in the outermost shell, it has 5 electrons. In the outermost shell, nitrogen has 5 electrons and it requires 3 more electrons to attain the stable state. So what happens here? The nitrogen is ready to share, which means the nitrogen is ready to share 3 electrons. Thus, it forms triple covalent bond. Now, if we just see the dot structure of this thing, okay, so dot structure of this elements, it looks like this. Okay. So here they have taken the example for hydrogen. So here hydrogen, if you just observe, it will be appearing as H2, not just H. That is because the hydrogen is ready to bond with itself. Okay, that is here if you could see one hydrogen having 1 electron and another hydrogen having 1 electron. So what these 2 hydrogen will do, they make an agreement that I'll give you 1 electron, or we can just share electrons such that we both can attain what? Attain the stable state. And when they share the electrons, it just looks like the hydrogen molecule, that is hydrogen with single bond. Okay. And next, if you could see the same thing with the carbon and hydrogen. So here carbon requires 4 electrons to attain the stable state. So what happens here? It makes bond with 4 hydrogen atoms. 4 hydrogen atoms, and thus carbon attains the stable state as well as the 4 hydrogens also attain the stable state. Now we'll just see what are the other features or other characteristics of carbon. Here the carbon is called as the versatile element. Why it is called versatile element? Okay. The carbon has the ability to make bondage with itself. Bondage with itself. That is, it can share electrons with other carbon atoms. That process is known as catenation. So what is this catenation? Okay, the sharing of electrons between the carbon atoms. Okay, so carbon-carbon bond. In simple words, what we can say, the carbon-carbon bond is known as catenation. And here the carbon-carbon atoms will have only a single bond. Okay, the single bond chain, it forms a long chain. Carbon-carbon chain also we will just say. The carbon-carbon chain is known as what? Is known as the catenation. Okay. So we'll just see what are the further things of in this catenation. Compounds of carbon atoms having double or triple bonds between their carbon atoms are called unsaturated compounds. So we'll be studying about this saturated and unsaturated compounds in the further topics. And the another property what we can say is the small size of carbon atom. Okay. Here as we discussed catenation, carbon-carbon chain, isn't it? So this carbon-carbon chain will be in a smaller size and the great strength of the carbon-carbon bond. Okay. Here the carbon which is bond with the another carbon has a strong great strength between the bondage. Okay. So you could see an diamond. So diamond is a allotropy of carbon. Diamond is a allotropy of carbon. Okay. So you could see diamond, we all know that diamond is the strongest substance. If we want to break the diamond, it requires lot of energy to break or to crack the diamond. Okay, that is a carbon-carbon bond. It is formed by the carbon-carbon bond. Okay. So that is why we'll just say that what? It has a great strength. The carbon-carbon bond has a greater strength. Okay. And another property is nothing but tetravalent nature. So what is this tetravalent? Okay. If in the outermost shell, okay, we'll just go back to the configuration of carbon. In carbon, the configuration is what? 2 and 4. 2 electrons in the first shell and 4 electrons in the second shell. If the valency is 1, we say that it is a monovalent. Suppose if the valency is 2, what do you mean by this valency? That is the electrons present in the outermost shell, isn't it? The outermost shell, how much electrons it contains, based on that only we will define the valency. Yes? Now, here for this carbon, it has 4 electrons in the outermost shell. And hence, it has a tetravalent nature. Tetravalent means it has the ability to share 4 electrons. It has the ability to share 4 electrons. That is why it is called as tetravalent nature. And all the 4 electrons can be shared for the same element or for the different elements also. The electrons can be shared for only one element or multiple element also. For one electron it will be sharing with hydrogen, and one electron it will be sharing with chlorine, one electron it will be sharing with fluorine, and another electron it can share with the carbon itself. So here the electrons, the 4 electrons can be shared with different elements which has the valency 1. Hence it is called as a tetravalent nature. Okay. Tetravalent nature. Okay. Now we'll just see in what all ways the carbon can bond with the another elements. So that we call it as a chain. What all the bonds it can form. Okay. So if you could observe here, as we discussed in the previous topic, catenation. So this is how it looks like, carbon-carbon chain. Okay, they'll say carbon-carbon chain. So the first thing is a straight chain in which the carbon will be arranged in a straight line. The carbon bonds and forms a straight line. It's called as a straight chain. And in the next, we could see the branched. Okay, just like a tree has a branches, right? Like that, here the carbon also has some branches. Okay, it can bond in any way. So that is branched. And the cyclic chain is nothing but, or you can say you can call it as a ring. Cyclic chain, you call it as a ring also. Okay, the cyclic chain is nothing but a closed figure, as you see here. Okay, it's a closed figure. Okay, now based on the bonding. Based on the bonding. So here in all these 3 cases you could see only a single bond. That is, only one pair of electrons are shared. Based on the number of electrons the carbon has shared, it is classified into 2 categories. What are the 2 categories? One thing is the saturated carbons or saturated hydrocarbons and unsaturated hydrocarbons. I think I have mentioned the word hydrocarbons. What is this hydrocarbon? Okay. The bond between the carbon and hydrogen is known as hydrocarbon. In this chapter, in most of the cases, the bondage will be between the carbon and hydrogen, because carbon and hydrogen are like a thick friends. Carbon and hydrogen are thick friends. Okay. So in the further topics, you will be studying more about this hydrocarbons. So what is this hydrocarbon? The bond between hydrogen and carbon is what we call it as hydrocarbons. Now, what kind of bondage is formed? Okay, as we said, based on the type of bonding, the hydrocarbons, hydrogen and carbon, based on the bonding, this carbon atoms, that is the hydrocarbons is classified into 2 categories. One is the saturated and another is the unsaturated. First we'll discuss about this saturated. So saturated hydrocarbons are nothing but the bondage of carbon and hydrogen by single bond. That is, in all the carbon atoms, if we have only one bond, that is, if only one electrons are shared, we know that it is single bond. In saturated hydrocarbons, the bonding between the carbon atoms will be single bond. Okay. The compounds formed between hydrogen and carbon, okay, the compound formed between hydrogen and carbon will always be in a single bond. Okay, you could see the below images. Okay, they are given this methane, ethane, propane. So in methane, we have one carbon and 4 hydrogen, and in the second case ethane, we have 2 carbons and 6 hydrogens, and in the third case propane, we have 3 carbon and 8 hydrogen. So this forms a homologous series. Okay, so we'll be studying that homologous series in the further topics. Okay. So here there is a general formula, to find the hydrocarbons, and we can name the hydrocarbons. So what is the general formula here is CnH2n plus 2. Here N indicates the number of carbon atoms. N indicates the number of carbon atoms. So if I have only one carbon atom, so each carbon atoms is ready to share how much electrons? It is ready to share 4 electrons. So if I have only one carbon, I can have 4 hydrogens, and each hydrogen will be sharing 1 electron. So here in the first case, only one carbon, we have 4 hydrogen, and that we name it as methane. And in the second we have 2 carbons, and here we have one carbon chain, okay. So here we have 6 hydrogens. If I apply the formula, okay, so if I just take n value is 2, so C2, and in the n place if I just substitute 2, and here it will become H2 into 2, it will be 4 plus 2, it will be 6. So C2 H6, and we can calculate for n number of, okay, any number of carbon atoms, and we can just form a molecular formula for that respective hydrocarbon. So here the main thing you should notice is saturated hydrocarbons are formed by carbon-carbon single bond. That is the one thing. And second thing you should notice is the general formula, that is CnH2n plus 2. And these kind of saturated hydrocarbons, that is carbon-carbon single bond hydrocarbons, we name it as alkanes. Okay, alkanes. So 3 things: the name alkanes, the general formula, and what type of bond is between them. The 3 points you should know. And the next thing is the unsaturated hydrocarbon. So what is this unsaturated hydrocarbon? Okay. So in unsaturated hydrocarbon, the carbon will be having either one double bond or one triple bond between the carbon atoms. So how can you define the unsaturated hydrocarbon? Okay, unsaturated hydrocarbons at least has one double bond or one triple bond between the carbon-carbon chain. So this is the point you should notice for the unsaturated hydrocarbon. So how you can define the unsaturated hydrocarbon? If the carbon-carbon chain has at least one double bond or triple bond between them, at least one double bond or triple bond between them, then it is known as what? Then it is known as a unsaturated hydrocarbon. It will be having at least one. It can have more than one also, but at least one double bond or one triple bond between the carbon-carbon chain. Then it will be considered as what? It will be considered as unsaturated hydrocarbon. Now, if we just compare this saturated and unsaturated. Okay. Now we'll just compare this saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbon. So saturated hydrocarbons. In saturated hydrocarbons, the carbon atoms are linked to each other only by single covalent bond. Yes, saturated hydrocarbon, they are linked with only single bond between the carbon-carbon chain. Carbon-carbon chain has only single bond. Whereas in the unsaturated hydrocarbon, it has double or triple bond. It has double or a triple bond. Okay. So in the second point you could see they contain only a single bond, whereas here they contain carbon-carbon double or triple bond. So saturated is only single bond, but in unsaturated it has double or triple bond. They are chemically less reactive. Since the bondage between the carbon and hydrogen is very less in the sense it is sharing only one pair of electrons and the bond can be easily broken. Hence, it has less reactivity. Whereas in the unsaturated hydrocarbons, they are more reactive. And the next you could see substitution reaction is a characteristic property of these hydrocarbons. On the other side we see addition reaction is a characteristic property of these hydrocarbons. So in the further classes we will be studying about how this substitution reaction takes place and addition reaction takes place. And the last thing is the general formula of this hydrocarbons. That is, for saturated hydrocarbons, CnH2n plus 2. That is, we name it as alkanes. And the other side, here the general formula for unsaturated hydrocarbons is CnH2n. That we call it as alkenes. ALKENES. Okay, ENES, alkenes. Or CnH2n minus 2. So the CnH2n minus 2, we name it as alkynes. 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 Okay. So this is the differences between the saturated hydrocarbons and unsaturated hydrocarbons. In the next class, we will be dealing with some more explanations of this chapter.